So I'm going to run this line. Like these are going to be the actual painted lines after I lift this tape up, but I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to run this line all the way down the road. I'm going to use my ruler, but once again, I'm just showing you how I would do it without getting my fat hands in the way. So I'm going to run this all the way down, right, like that. So these will be white. This will be white. There'll be a yellow, probably part of a yellow center line going almost all the way down. And then once this is all laid in and, you know, lined up the way I like it, I can look at it and go, okay, that looks pretty good. I'll cut out, you know, some here, like, you know, wherever the lines cross, I'll cut those out. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this wider tape to cut in the border. So I'm going to lay, yeah, it's a lot of tape, right? So I'm going to lay in tape like this, okay? I'm going to do it on the other side. So I'm going to tape out all this, but leave this. And then once all this border tape is in, I'm basically just going to lift these up. I'll do the same down here, and there'll just be that road surface exposed. And I'm going to come in here with the airbrush. I'm going to paint the white in and the yellow in, and then I'll lift off my border tape, and I got beautiful painted graphics on a painted road surface. And then I can take super thin earth with my airbrush and just lay a sort of a very subtle earth tone just to reconcile the road paint to the road like it's been around for a while. I don't want to make it look like it was painted yesterday, but okay, so that's how I'm going to do that, okay? Okay, so here's a little bit more up close. So now what I do is all that tape prior that I laid out that represented the lines on the road gets peeled up because it's been masked off, right? Okay. That will probably get cut right there because that's where the paint will go. You can see that the paint will go here, here, and here. And then there's the dotted lines. Now they begin here. Notice how I made increments 8 to 10 feet. In this case it's 8-foot lines, and then, well, it depends on the spacing. I've seen some 8 and 8, some 8 and 10, 8 and 12. So I just did 8 and 8 because it's the same on the overpass right above. So you can see that those get peeled out of the way, and that's where the paint goes down, right? Okay. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to remove all this tape. You can see right here. So there's 3 pieces of tape here, right? So I'll just show you something. So this is the double yellow line. So this gets pulled up, and there was 3, right? And then this one gets pulled up, okay? So when that gets painted yellow, you get the double yellow line, okay? It's a bit of work, but man, when you're demasking, which I'll show some, it's really rewarding. You end up with a really nice looking road that you can be proud of and feel good about, okay? Okay, so what I'm going to do here is paint the yellow now. Now what I did was when I painted the white, I pulled back a bit. Like I didn't lay it super white opaque. Like I don't want the markings to look like they were painted yesterday. Like the idea is the road's been patched. It's a tighter budget in the year that they did it, let's say. And I want the paint and the graphics to be a little bit weathered down as well, so that there's not this stark contrast between the aged surface of the road and then, like, you know, brand new graphics, let's say, okay? So the white is done, even though it looks almost gray, but when you peel the tape, you'll see it'll pop really nicely. So now I'm going to take this yellow, which I added a little bit of orange to, because I noticed with road lines that they're not just stock Tamiya yellow. I took Tamiya flat yellow and added a bit of orange. Like even though the orange is a gloss, considered a gloss, it doesn't matter. The flat will overwhelm it, and it'll be either satin or flat anyway. So I'm just gonna lay in. Whoops. I'm just gonna here. I'll just get into view here in a second. So I'm just gonna lay in the yellow gently like this. I pulled the trigger back too much there. I got a bit too much there, but that's okay because it'll just be varied and random, right? Random is good in this game. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way down. And this would be cool because it's a bit of a highlight, like right on the edge of the layout. It's kind of neat. Almost like a boundary. Keep hands out. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll demask this and see what she looks like. How's everybody doing? So let's demask this road on this end anyway. And this is the fun part, right? So all that work of masking and that little bit of airbrushing pays off. There's the crosswalks. If you have any problems or if you miss a line doing it this way, you can always just remask just the area. And, you know, just touch it up. Just like the real world. I always think of models like they're the real world, but, you know, well, they are like sort of, but in miniature, right? That's why I like to build up terrain and roads. Like, I mean, I'm not a road engineer or road technician, but, you know, there's enough information out there that shows you diagrams of, you know, how they build up roads, that they lay the, you know, the substrate gravel and so on, and then the pavement on top. And if you model in those features and they show, those are the little areas that really take your layout to another level. It's a little bit of work doing all this, but so these little guys, if you get any little scratches or cuts, so what, right? Just take your paintbrush and turn it into a pothole or whatever. Maybe a car wiped out and caught fire. Like, there's lots of, like, roads tell stories too, right? You know what I mean? So this is looking pretty good. I'm really liking this. See what this yellow line looks like. Tape stuck. That Tamiya tape is really good. Oh yeah, it's folded over, that's why. Yeah, doesn't that look cool? So really happy. Oh man, that looks so awesome. And then what I'll do is when, excuse me, I don't know if I should flat coat this. I might just use the Vallejo, because there was no Tamiya paint, well, except for these lines. I'm only worried, like the Vallejo flat coat is good. I did put it on here and it worked really well, but the only thing I'm worried about with that Vallejo rattle can flat matte is it leaves white blemishes when you put it over top of Tamiya paint, which has ethanol in it, a type of ethanol. I think that's what it is. It's not that the Vallejo flat coat, like I have them all, like I use them, but I use them in particular situations. But it's not that they're bad, really. It's just that you got to be careful of chemical reactions. Like, you know, there's a plethora of different paint chemicals that we use as model railroaders, so we're bound to run into problems, right? You know what I mean? I wonder how this part turned out down here. I redid this part. I showed it on the earlier when I did Duncan Way. I painted this, but it was the profile was too large and I didn't like it. And I moved it back a ways too. It was too close. There's a pinch here. So I got to have a stop sign here that can be right on the edge of the road here, and then there has to be track clearance. It's a tricky situation when you get, you know, oblique angles with track to roads. It's quite common actually out here to see that. In fact, they have warning signs for cyclists. Do not, like please dismount, right? But they don't. And you know how many times I've seen people and heard people with broken hips and legs because they go into the rails and on their bicycle? Like one guy was almost knocked out. He couldn't get up in the middle of a dual line, CN main line, because he went over the crossing. And there was a car that came up, luckily, that pulled him off the tracks. Can you imagine if there was a high-speed main train coming? He would have been squashed. So anyway, yeah, this angle. So yeah, I'm glad I moved this back further a bit because now I got room here, and I really like this. This is cool. Okay, so let's just pull this off, and then this. This is a good little tool, this little palette knife for lifting tape. I don't know why I didn't use it earlier, but it doesn't scratch because it's rounded. It's not like a knife blade. It's like, see that? But it's rounded though. It's like a butter knife. So it's really good for pulling tape off. Wow, that looks so awesome. Look at that, eh? Glover Road version 2. Really happy with that. So let's jump back up and take one more look from that angle, and then we'll close on this, okay? Okay, this is looking really nice. I'm really happy with this. Really glad that I didn't jump ahead like earlier in the, oh, I missed a couple of pieces of tape there. Oh, I didn't see that. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So I looked at the Google Earth, and they had this sort of funny couple lines sort of random here. It was sort of weird. I didn't know how to interpret that very well, but I just painted it like that. It's good enough. But the nice thing about doing an intersection like this is there's a lot going on. And like, okay, so this is Crushed Crescent, just if you were wondering. I haven't done that yet because I have to decide, okay, what do I do with this track? Because this track normally runs through the road as well, and it joins up further down if I was to extend it in that logical sense. But I haven't decided what section 4 and 5 is really going to be yet. But I might just run this to the end, and then I'll repave. I'll do this section just like this. And the grain elevators right here. I'll be able to do some of the traffic lights and the railroad crossing lights and a gate, which is really cool. So I sort of split the intersection in half and split the main road, and then you can see how, you know, like this is actually how the road goes, like further down when you're heading to Langley. Like Fort Langley's this way, and then this goes to the Langley city. And these two lanes taper into one, and then it goes further down. So that's why I did that, and it made sense because there's a curve here, and I thought, well, you might as well just curve that as well, and just, you know, like the road's been shortened quite a bit, but it works well. Wow, I really like that. I hope you all learned something from that because I certainly did, because I did things differently. When I did the original Glover Road, I'll just say this in closing, if you go back under the channel, way back, like go to the home page videos and just scroll way back, like I don't know, 350 videos or something. There's another 150 videos there on Glover Road. The first layout I did that was like this, but it was 8 feet long, but it was sort of it wasn't really faithful to the prototype as much as I wanted it to be, even though you do deviate from prototype footprints and practices because you just can't do it exact, right? So I just did the road out of plastic. It looked good, but I used spray bombs, and it was just speckling, but it was all consistent the whole road. It looked like one big, you know, sort of brand new exact surface road. It didn't have any of this kind of, wow, like just looking at this, I really love it. It really looks awesome. Especially for those of you that if you do layouts that are lower down, you're going to be looking at something like this quite a bit. I walk up and I see this, and I'm okay with that too, right? Anyway, so thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Really fun adventure this was, doing this part of Glover Road, and it's a good way, like I say, to motivate yourself and inspire yourself for things that go on in the background, and as you build and flesh out other parts of your layout. Okay, cheers.